the terrorists just came to you and have you to stop all, and you have two options: to be killed or to flee the country. We do respect, we give respect, and we expect to get respect back as a human being.
Hai teman-teman, selamat datang di Uncensored with Andini Effendi. Episode kali ini kita ingin mengajak teman-teman semua nih untuk lebih tahu lagi mengenai pencari suaka pengungsi yang ada di Indonesia. Nah, saya berbicara dengan Naweed Aieen, pencari suaka dari Afghanistan, mengenai bagaimana dia bisa sampai ke sini dan juga suka dukanya selama hidup di Indonesia. Inilah Uncensored with Andini Effendi. Hi, I'm talking to Naweed Aieen, an asylum seeker from Afghanistan. Hi, happy to have you.
Hi Andini, glad to be a part of your program. So I'm here. Yeah, I hope we can have a very wonderful conversation today.
So Aieen, tell me, you came from Afghanistan. You were born and raised there. You also got married there. All right. So and you are 37 years old. Right. So, from how many siblings are you?
Yeah, as you said, I born and raised in Afghanistan, and I got married in Afghanistan.
How many siblings do you have, Aieen?
Five siblings, 3 brothers, 2 sisters.
And you are the eldest?
I'm the eldest.
You're the eldest one. Wow. Okay. And then what were your parents doing in Afghanistan at that time?
My father is an educated person, and he was the CEO for AFCO, Association of Afghanistan Freight Forwarder Companies. But right now, they already fled the country, my parents and my siblings.
And what about your mother? Was she also working at that time?
Yeah, my mother is a housewife. She was and she is.
And what about you? You had a career in Afghanistan. Tell me, what did you do?
Yeah, before coming to Indonesia, I used to be a journalist and news presenter for more than 6 years.
Wow.
in Afghanistan.
Wow. So you're quite famous in Afghanistan?
Somehow we can say, yeah.
So tell me, so what was the program, who are the audience, and what was the station that you work for? Tell me about it.
First time that I entered to the media, I just entered to the national TV and radio, starting from radio, and after a while we just passed a test. Fortunately, among 42 people who were youth, all of them, I got the first position to be entered to the TV.
Wow.
Then they just passed a program called The Way to the, in Persian it calls Rahi ba sui khoshbakhti, but in English we can translate A Way to the Happiness.
So is it a news program or is it like entertainment?
That was entertainment.
Okay.
That was the first time that I got a TV program.
Wow.
So I was the producer and the presenter for that program. The broadcast was once a week on Thursdays evening. After a year, I was willing to join to the news department. Later in a private TV, I just applied. Unfortunately, I have been accepted there. Then I start to work in the news department, writing news, editing, and presenting. We had 2 main programs in the evening, 6 p.m. for 1 hour and 8:30 p.m. for another 1 hour.
That's the program that you hosted, the 2
Yeah.
programs. So you did a primetime show. That's what we call it here.
Yeah. The news program, which was on 6 p.m. and 8:30 p.m., that was live, and I was the presenter and the host for the guests to discuss something, to do some conversation about the latest updates, like what happens in the country, politics, social, cultural, and blah blah.
So basically you discuss the current affairs of the country at that time.
Yes,
do people know you when you get out of the street, or when you go wherever in the country? Do people recognize who you are?
Yes, exactly. Not in the first years,
Yes.
but after, not in the first year, but after a year, when I found myself in the city, the people just pointed to me and just talked to each other. And that was the first days that Afghanistan paid value for the media and the freedom of speech. Then the people were happy to talk to me, and some were willing to take some photos with me. And I knew that, right now, so I became famous, and these people like to contact me.
So did you discuss like sensitive issues in your program about like issues in the country?
Normally in the news program, when something happens recently, an updated issue, like the host or the news presenter has to talk about that latest issue, whatever is aid to the guests. I cannot say sensitive, but maybe some groups might feel that sensitive for themselves. But I was talking about the latest updates of the country.
So you also talk about Taliban and the attacks and so on?
Yeah, that was the normal part of news in Afghanistan.
So your job must be very, I would say, can be a threat to your life, having said what happened in the country.
In Afghanistan, the time that I was there, journalists were not safe. There were some, follow-up from some groups to the journalists, to the presenters, but I was not afraid on that time. I could dare to go to my way, to do my job for more than 6 years. And I was happy to do that. I enjoyed doing that job of being a journalist for my country and for the people.
Tell me, have you ever received any threats or anything that, basically could harm you and your family? Because I understand at that time you're already married with a son.
Yes. During the time that I used to work as in both in media and in a company called MoveOne Logistics, we were the contractor for ISAF and NATO deliveries or suppliers or logistics.
So you had two jobs at that time, right? As a journalist, and then you have this other company who deals with logistics for foreign counterparts, right? And then, go ahead.
I got some threats, or I can say too many threats via phone calls, via text messages from unknown numbers were telling me like the jobs you're doing are not favorable for us, so you have to stop what are you doing. Working with a logistic company who support foreigner counterparts, or working as a journalist in the TV and you're discussing the latest issues in the country, we don't like that, so you should stop. But I didn't care, because I haven't had to care to those streets. I tried to just follow my way, and before leaving the country, until leaving the country, I used to work for both jobs.
Right. So do you know where the threats are coming from?
Not exactly, because the numbers were unknown.
Yeah.
Those unknown numbers were not with the normal people. So that belongs to some groups and some terrorist groups. That was not with the normal citizen people.
Can we say that's from the Taliban? Can we say it?
Yes, that was not certain for me on that time. But later, when I got threat letter from the Taliban, when I saw the signature of the leader, then I used to go to the police station to show that letter to them, that I got a threat letter. I didn't get it. I didn't get it directly, but indirectly, I just knew that this letter been issued to the Taliban groups by their leader.
Right.
Then I got a copy of that, and I went to the police station and I asked for security. They confirmed that letter, and they issued another letter and asked some bodyguards to care for a temporary period of time.
So you had a security officer embedded with you after receiving those threats?
Yes, that's correct.
Wow.
But for temporary time. Then I realized that, those threats were coming from Taliban.
Wow. Is there any moment where they come to you directly? So not only threats, but they literally physically come to you or your family?
I was afraid of facing such an issue. I was in Kabul. My house, my family were in Kabul, and in the middle of the city, I was sure that the Taliban will not come directly to me, but they will try to somehow disturb. They will try to follow me. If I'm out of the coverage area, they will do something with me or my family. That's why we took care to be in the safe area. To be honest, that being in the safe area or restricting ourselves to home or to the area around home, having safeguards or security guards, these things became challenging issues for me and for my family. It took our sleep. Our comfortability. Then we had to do something for ourselves, and I was not the one to think about going out of the country because we had too many plans. We had programs for the future.
For your son as well, right? I'm sure.
Yeah. Besides these two jobs, we made an association, a social association, and we got more than 2,000 people members in that association. Then in the weekends, Fridays afternoon, I was fully there to just talk to the people, to find some solution, to help the society. I had my colleagues there. As an example, we used to have group of students who were graduated from high school to just introduce them to a private university from our address, so the university will decrease the fee or the admission fee or the monthly fee they have to pay for that. Such kind of activities. We used to find some donors for those who are in need. the families in the winter, in the cold weather. We had our list and we had our supervision. Then we used to connect too many donors to those family who were in need.
Right.
So
So basically you were coming from middle upper class, educated, right? Because you had a degree in law and then statistics, correct? So and then you had a good job coming from a wealthy, well-off family, I guess, right, in Afghanistan. And then so at that time you didn't want to leave your country.
Exactly. We had the plan with our colleagues to have to go to the parliament.
You want to run as a politician?
Not politician, but on the behalf of the people, just to the parliament as a people representative. Then we had such kind of activities, social activities, and also media activities to get succeed to that plan. Since I got the treat, then before that, I have advised too many of my friends who just came to me and asked I'd like to go out of country because of these issues, but I tried to convince them to stay, to not go. But the day arrived for me that I decided to leave the country. Then those friends just called me, talked to me, discussed to me that you are not supposed to. And I said, so this is the situation. I'm restricted enough. I cannot survive anymore in this land. I hope one day everything will be better and I can be back here. But right now I have to leave.
Aieen, what was the point, the day when you said that this is the day that I need to leave the country? What was the trigger for you to do that?
The treat letter that I received, the phone calls and the texts were matching to them, to the treat letter. I thought the terrorists are very close to me, and 1, 2, or 3 security guard may not be able to stand against a group of terrorists. Then that was the last destiny for me. So I had to do something. I had to take a plan, to take action. Then it was very difficult, not easy for me and for my family to leave. Then we decided to.
What was it like to leave your homeland? To leave the only place that you know for all your life and going somewhere, very at a very uncertain time. What was the emotion like for you leaving your homeland?
Anyone who is watching your video right now, if you put yourself instead of me and close your eyes, think and imagine yourself for 5 minutes instead of me, may not feel that feeling that I had. A low percentage of that feeling may not come to you. But what I just had, which kind of feeling I had on that time, I cannot find words to determine that, to explain that. When you born and you raise somewhere, when you study hard, when you try to do smart works, when you become a journalist, when you become a news presenter, when you have social activities, the people know you and you have plans for the future, then suddenly everything comes down and the terrorists just came to you and have you to stop all, and you have two options: to be killed or to flee the country. Then I chose the second one, to flee the country. It was something or a kind of condition that I cannot find words to explain that. The time that we went to the airport, some friends, my parents, my siblings were calling to me, to talk to me, to say goodbye. I was not able to talk to them because of my throat, because of the pain in my throat, and because of the tears in my eye. I was not able to talk. I preferred to write for them, to just somehow to show that I'm busy somewhere. I cannot talk, but I'm just writing to you. Thank you very much for your calling. So goodbye. I'll call you back. Then in the airplane, when we fly, that was the same condition, because I was thinking about all those plans I had for myself, for my family, for my country, and all those decades that I tried my best to make everything, it's been destroyed in one day, in one night. Then we moved to India, and we stayed in India for 13 days.
Yeah, so that's why maybe the feeling, I mean, I will never understand the feeling, right? Because I never had the experience of forced leaving my homeland, right? But I guess like having your dreams shattered, that will be the most heartbreaking event in your life.
That's correct. That's true. Yeah. The dreams I had, that was destroyed.
Right. Especially with everything that you have been built your whole life there.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And then you said that after that day you moved to India, and then for a couple of days, and then you moved to Malaysia, right? And then Indonesia. But in Malaysia, they actually, I'm sorry, you can take a moment. You can take a moment
It's
first.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can do it.
So in Malaysia, you can actually stay there because they're the signatory for refugee, right? But you choose to leave and then choose to fly to Indonesia, choose to go to Indonesia, if I might add. Why coming here?
Let me start a little bit backward. When I was in Afghanistan, and I had too many official trips, I can say, to the foreign countries. I have participated in transportation, in measurement, statistics courses, journalist courses in Singapore, India, China. Those programs that we have been invited on the behalf of Afghanistan private sector, that was for 1 week or for a couple of weeks. I had experience of traveling out of the country. So then this was quite different, and this travel was true to the uncertainty. The destiny was not certain. Just to flee the war, the discrimination, injustice. Then we used to stay for 13 days in India, and from India to Malaysia. In Malaysia, we stayed for 1 week, and after a week, the tragic point of our travel.
The what again? The what again? After 1 week?
The tragic point of our travel.
Okay.
Just the most tragic point of our travel started in Malaysia.
Okay.
Because my wife and my 1.5 years old son were with me, and we were supposed to fly from Malaysia to Indonesia.
Okay.
But after a week, the trip coordinator just came to me and said that we are not able to help you to fly to Indonesia. So we have one option, which is the water, the ocean way. He said everything will be fine. You will go with another group of people. You will ride a ship. The ship will go to that side. You will be landed to Indonesia. I said, okay, so we cannot compare this type of travel with flying with the airplane, but still I'm fine. Let's go by this way. We got to the boat, and but on the way inside the boat, there were 4 people, but there were no any other passenger. When we came inside the ocean, the water, my son was on my shoulder, and my wife was just holding from me, and the water just became under up to our chest. Then.
And you cannot swim, I presume.
Sorry?
You cannot swim. You and your wife. Okay.
No, because we had some stuff in our bag.
Yes.
Then we had to stand, and the water waves were close to fill us down. So that was the time that I was looking to the sky, which was half cloudy, and I was, shouting silently my pains. Who were you? What was your plans? What did you do? Who are you now? What do you do now? What comes to you? So what will happen? Maybe this will be the last moments of your life. You and your wife and your son, you're not supposed to kill yourself in this ocean. That was 1:00 in the night, and no one knew our language. Those 4 people didn't know English, a single word. Then we used to ride in the boat, and they started to move. We were wet, and my wife and my son became sick because they got wet, and the wind of the speedboat.
Right. They got seasick, obviously, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So you were like very upset with yourself. Was there any regret from you that, I wasn't supposed to take this journey,
Yes, exactly. But that was the time that we had no way to reverse.
Yeah. And then when you got into Indonesian territory, was there any policemen there? Did you get caught by the police?
No, I'll come to that part. But before that, a short story from the way from Malaysia to Indonesia. After a couple of hours moving, they stopped the boat, and one of them just came to me and opened his phone and showed some photos of his wife, because they knew that I'm not comfortable when I see these 4 men.
Yeah.
I'm with my wife and my son alone. He just showed me those photos that I have family, we are in the family, and blah, blah. I said, okay, that's fine. So for me, it's okay. We are friends, and I'm sure when we arrive in Indonesia, we will be in contact. I told to them.
Yes.
So I would be helpful for you, and I'll try to, somehow I try to make them understand with basic English, and then they start to move again. My money was in a bag that I just hang it in my neck.
Yeah.
But my computer, laptop, and my mobile were in a bag that we just put in front of the boat.
Yes.
Then this person just asked me to take this bag from my neck to that place in front of the boat beside other luggage. I said, no, I'm fine with this. They tried 2-3 times. I said, I'm fine with this because I knew it. I should take care of that.
And then
the person said, okay. He said for his other 3 friends that I feel tired and I have to sleep. They said, okay. And he moved to the front of the boat. His friends asked us to take our head down because the surrounding area is not safe.
Right.
So if police or anyone may see
So you have to hide. Did they end up taking your stuff and your money?
Yes, we had to hide. Then they moved to the front, and after 30 minutes sleeping over there, he just returned back. When we arrived to Indonesia, there were no police, there were no one else, just one car were waiting for us. We didn't still took off of the boat. That these guys took our bags from the front of the boat and put in the car. Then we were tired and we were scared somehow.
Yes.
We went to the car and we moved to a house. The distance were about 10 minutes from the beach.
So Aieen, let me cut you off just for duration's sake. Did they take your stuff and your money?
Yes. When we arrived to the house, after 10 minutes traveling by car, I took off the luggage from the car.
Yeah.
And I saw that the bag is open. And
so how much did they take from you? How much money did they take from you plus the laptop?
Not many, but 1 laptop and 3 mobile phones.
Oh wow. But you still hold some cash with you.
Yes, I hold the cash money in my neck.
Okay, so you arrive here in 2015, right? And then you've been here in Indonesia ever since. You're now in Cisarua. Because I guess like all the asylum seekers are gathered there, right? And one of the area there in Cisarua. So how's life in Indonesia for you after 8 years living here?
It is like a limbo for us, and nothing is certain. We don't know what will happen tomorrow with us.
How do you pay for things on a daily basis, to buy food, to buy everything?
How do we pay? You mean the source, or how do we do it daily?
I mean, like, where do you get your money from?
Yeah. As I say, the properties that I had in Afghanistan.
So you have assets. You have assets in Afghanistan that you sell it. So you have savings, right? But then the savings are pretty much done, no? After a while living here.
Yeah. Part of that money was with me, and I could survive with that in the first years of being in Indonesia. When my parents and my siblings were in Afghanistan, they used to sell those rest of those properties which was remain, and they sent us and they supported us. But since the last incident in Afghanistan, August 2021, my family, my parents and siblings fled the country, and they are in Uzbekistan right now. They themselves seeking asylum.
And they were not able to support you and your family anymore.
They were not able to support us. We could save some money from that time.
Yeah.
That they sent us the properties and the things we had. And somehow we could survive so far, but I'm sure this final financial challenge is a big challenge for me, for asylum seekers, for refugees who are surviving in Indonesia. Because when there is no right for you to have a job or to have income, it is difficult to survive.
It must be frustrating for you, right? That you cannot
Yeah.
work for a long period of
Exactly.
time. Yeah. So how do you manage that stress?
The time I arrived in Indonesia and I found myself somewhere that no one know me and I don't know anyone. In the first 3 months, I lost 11 kilograms of my weight. I was quite mad. I was not well. Mentally, a very high stress. I tried to somehow integrate with the asylum seeker and refugee community in Indonesia while I didn't know anyone from before. And we could make a kind of circle, or I made some friends here, a group of friends who had the same ideas, who had the similar background, who had the same plans for the future, and were suffering of high stress. We sat together and we thought like, so while we cannot have a job, what can we do here to be useful for the people, for the community, for the human beings? This idea just came to us that as far as the asylum seekers and refugee kids are not permitted to go to local school or to university, let's do some homeschooling for them. It will
So you
help
created
us
a
to-
school for the children,
Yes.
the refugee. How many students are there?
And that was the one of the cause to just keep our stress low for ourselves as well. Like volunteering for the community would help us to keep our stress low. The students, we just start from 18 students. Right now, there are more than 300 students.
Wow.
For two.
Wow,
Yeah,
from
for
18 to
two.
300. And
Yeah.
these are kindergarten and elementary school years children.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
Wow.
that's correct.
So many refugees and asylum seekers here.
Yeah, almost 13,000 plus.
In
asylum
Cisarua?
seekers
In
are-
Cisarua, how many of them?
Between 2,500 to 3,000.
Wow. Okay, so I'm
Not
just gonna
only
give
in
I'm gonna
Cisarua.
give a context to our viewers here that Indonesia is not a part of the UN signatory for Refugee Convention. So therefore, refugees or asylum seekers who are here in the country, they're not able to get jobs, to have access to public schools here, right? And then what about hospitals? Because I know you had a son who was born in Indonesia. Can you go to the hospital? Did you have to pay for it?
Yeah, the partner organization with the UNHCR calls CWS,
Yes.
Church World Service. They support financially just for the emergency cases and for baby delivery, but not for the normal diseases or normal sickness.
All right.
For my baby son, they just paid for the baby delivery. Just it happened in Shoei Hospital.
What about if you or your wife or your children got sick? Can you get access to our medical system? No?
No.
Wow. So what do you do? What do you do if they got sick, the kids?
We just go to the Google and we try to treat it at home.
Oh my God! Wow. So you don't never go to a doctor here?
We go, but some often. So if it goes to the high level or there is no way to be treated at home, then we go to the doctor.
But you can get access to them.
We have to pay.
Oh wow. So Aieen, like, do you still have money on your savings? Living here for so long and not being able to work.
It is close to be finished. That's why it's a kind of concern for my future, for my tomorrow.
What about your wife? Tell me about her, because I found her very beautiful. I saw her on the YouTube link. How is she handling life in Indonesia?
She is a hero because a hero mother, because
That's okay.
sorry.
Take your time.
Yes,
That's fine. Take your time. That's fine. If you have any tissue, yes.
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
be back. Sorry.
Aieen, are you okay?
Yeah, sorry, just got a bit
No, it's
emotional.
okay. That's fine. You can be emotional with me. That's fine. Just be who you are, okay? Because I really want our audience to understand better about refugees, asylum seeker, and then what we can do as a community to support you guys, you know? Because I think it's needed, right? So your wife's name is Musda. Is she? Musda?
Yeah.
Very
Yes,
beautiful.
Musda.
Very beautiful person. I saw pictures. I love it. Beautiful family.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how is she handling life in Indonesia? So far from home.
Yeah, she's a hero because she used to get married with a journalist, with the one who will build a life for her, for our children. She was not supposed to be in the middle of an ocean where the water comes to the chest. She was not supposed to live in Indonesia, where she and her husband are not permitted to work, to have a job, to have income. She was not supposed to live in such a host country where the country is not the signatory of the convention, and our children are not allowed or they do not have access to the public school. We have too many concerns, we have too many issues. When we talk at home together to each other, it's been very challenging for us to handle this life during these 8 years. And she tried to support me. She tried to somehow, actually, for the first 5 years, she tried. But after that, recently, I try to give hope for her because she already failed. And
She already gave up, you mean?
yeah, she has a very high stress, and she is suffering of some diseases. She is not doing well.
Right.
She cannot sleep normally. She afraid when she's sleeping, suddenly just she shakes and says that I'm not comfortable.
Because she's probably not peaceful, at peace in her mind and emotionally, I guess, right?
That's great.
What about the sons? What about your sons? How are they doing? How do they live their life in Indonesia?
They are doing fine. But I'm not comfortable when I see them somewhere that they are restricted of having access to their rights as a children.
Can they play?
They
Can
do
they
not
play
know.
with like the local kids? Do they play together?
No, they don't. Chisorwa and Jakarta is quite different.
Okay.
In Chisorwa, we cannot allow them to play with the local kids due to many reasons. But they do not know what are their rights. They are not in that level. I mean, they have their own world. But what I see, what my wife and I, as a parents, we see, and when we see that they're restricted this much, that's a kind of concern for us, big concern for us.
So I want to know, like, what is like your effort right now, because you have the asylum seeker ID. Are you trying to be like placed somewhere? Is it still on progress, that process? And where do you guys want to go initially?
There are some steps to be passed when you are under UNHCR ID. First, they issue that asylum seeker ID for you,
Yes.
and then you have to pass RSD, or refugee status determination.
Yeah.
To just be confirmed by them that you became a refugee. We couldn't pass that, and we are still waiting for that chance to pass the interview with UNHCR, the RSD, so it will be certain, it will be confirmed by the UNHCR that we are refugees, not seeking asylum anymore.
So you're still waiting for the refugee status, I guess,
yes,
right?
we're still waiting for that, and we hope we can pass that soon. Then, after being refugee, the case will be going for the resettlement chance,
Right.
which will take a long period of time.
Yeah. So I read like, as an Afghan, it will take like 10 years for someone to receive that status. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So that means you need to wait a few more years in Indonesia in order to get that status and be replaced somewhere.
For receiving the refugee ID, it will take maybe 8, 9, or 10 years. So currently, it's been 8 years that we are waiting for that.
Right.
But for resettlement progress, after being refugee, then the resettlement progress will be started anytime by chance or by any other reason that I do not know that the UNHCR knows about. Yes. That will take another period of time, starting from 2 years to 5 years, means that 1.5 decades, which is a long time.
Wow. Do you know where you want to go if you can choose, to be placed?
Anywhere can be safe land for us, anywhere that we could have our basic human rights, anywhere that our children can go to school and we can have a job, anywhere that we can build a life for us. We can have a house under our name. We can have a SIM card to install in our mobile to communicate, but under our name. So
now you don't have it under your name.
I don't have a simple SIM card under my name.
Wow. So basically, you just want to be treated with respect as a human being.
Exactly. We do respect. We give respect, and we expect to get respect back as a human being. What do I believe? This world is somewhere that all human beings are refugees. We came a day and we will be back a day. No one is remaining in this earth for more than 1 100 years. So we have to see these issues from a top perspective, a higher perspective to these cases. These human beings made borders among the countries, among the lands, that this is my country, that's your country. There are laws, there are restrictions. Then in some of these territories, there is war, injustice, discrimination. The people who are seeking peace, they have to flee. They are or refugees, asylum seekers, displaced people, or those who are seeking peace. That's why where they are, I'm sure that they will respect the rules, regulations, cultures, and everything as we see here. And for sure, as a human being, they expect to receive back that respect and that kindness from the host people. In Indonesia, I feel happy. My Indonesian friends are supportive, friendly, especially when I'm in Jakarta, I feel comfortable, I feel relaxed. But Cisarua people are very kind and friendly, but some restriction for the people who would like to do some volunteering in this area is existent. That is something that I cannot say here in interview.
Right.
But
Aieen, so what can we do to support you? Because I understand you don't want us to pity you, but we can support you in other ways. So what can we do? You have an organization, you have a school. What can we do as viewers to support?
I think the community can support the asylum seekers and refugees mentally. For example, we have some peaceful demonstration nowadays in Jakarta and other states. The community may help the displaced people to stand with them, to go to the parliament, to ask the responsible, concerned organizations to bring some certainty, some clarity of what is going on, what is their future, what will happen with them.
Right.
So they are in our country, we are the host. And we see every day that there are too many displaced people coming from other countries, from Afghanistan. They are seeking something.
Yes. Or at the very least, just to educate ourselves, get to know the asylum seekers here and the condition, and then we can know how can we support, right? Like you and your family. Right, Aieen?
That's correct.
Yes.
That's correct.
So, Aieen, I would love to speak to you more, but you know what I would want to do more is to basically be a helping hand. And hopefully from this conversation, it can open the eyes and the hearts and the minds of Indonesians and beyond about you and your family's condition and so many others, right, who can work together with this. Please send my regards to Majda and your sons, and hopefully we'll see each other in person, inshallah.
Sure, inshallah. Thank you very much, and
thank you very much
for your time, for having me in your program. Sure. My regards and my family regards to you and all watchers and all your beloved ones. I hope we can meet in person. And we will be in touch.
Inshallah. Will do.
Karena saya dipersalahkan untuk menyuap sesuatu yang tidak pernah saya lakukan. I prove to you, you can memenjarakan raga saya. Not my thinking, not my belief, not my faith.
Thank you for watching. This program is part of Cauldron Talks. Selain di YouTube, teman-teman bisa nonton di Facebook Watch. dan dengarkan di Spotify atau Apple Podcast. Cari Cauldron Talks. If you enjoy it, please share with others.